everyone. I'm Anne Hamburger from Aido Network International. Welcome to Aido Network International Business and Prosperity Forum 2020. This segment is brought to you by Aido Network International and Raya TV Kenya. We will be having a panel discussion on Africa is ready to partner in business and prosperity in Africa. Hosted by Princess Tepi and moderated by Frank Davis. Welcome.
And right now we are going to call upon Frank A. David, who is the moderator for the panel. And their topic is Africa is ready to partner for business and prosperity. And please, these following panelists, if they can unmute their mics and show so that they can take the center stage. It will be Ms. Bernadette Zele from Johannesburg Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Dr. Prince Kofi Klujisen, if you can unmute so that we can see you. From Celtel Networks Ghana. Stella Opoku Owusu from African Foundation for Development, AFFORD. And Dr. Melida Harris Barrow from Global Diaspora Chamber of Commerce. Can we see those so that they can take the center stage? And Frank, can we see Frank is there so that they can take the center stage, and the stage is yours. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, host, and thank you, fellow panelists. Let me just say a few words before I invite the panelists for us to kick the ball rolling. We know Africa is fast developing, and we know as at last year, the GDP of the whole sub-Saharan Africa stood at over $2.3 trillion. The basic elements that actually people look for when it comes to investment are a bit of rule of law and how healthy the economy is, the culture, the talent of the people, basically the human skills that the country have. Africa, we do acknowledge what investors normally will complain about, a bit of lawlessness, a bit of unsafe environment, and a bit of bribery. We do acknowledge that. That said, we also do know that there are abound a lot of opportunities in Africa, and people who have tried it, and especially investors who have actually trooped to Africa, have made good returns. Africa is a continent where return on investment is so great, it's so high, compared to other parts of the world. The panelists we have today are those who have actually identified opportunities within the continent of Africa. They have actually filled the valleys to actually minimize risk and actually put together the building blocks that have developed or that have actually delivered for Africa sustainable jobs and prosperity. Because the panels have been introduced already, I am not going to bore you with the names, but these are people who in their capacity are well qualified to actually tell us a lot about Africa, to reassure any investor that will be out there wanting to know whether Africa is actually ready for business. We do have Ambassador Maboka, we do have Ms. Bernadette Zela, also from Johannesburg, and we do have Dr. Prince Kofi Klujisen of Celtel Network Ghana, a person I prefer to call a pioneering in tech business when it comes to Ghana. And we also do have Ms. Stella Opoku from the Africa Foundation for Development, and we do have Dr. Melida Harris Barrow, who is also our guest. Can I start off by going to our panel? Let me go to Dr. Prince Kofi, to give us his opening comments for about 3 minutes. Doctor, please.
Thank you very much, Frank. I am quite impressed and very delighted about this program and seeing the harmonization of what everybody thought it's about the next or the new Africa, which I call the next generation of Africa. In my view, all that I've seen so far, we've seen the ambassador's presentation on the gaps, in the continent about government, the roads, and what have you. I believe that we need to be moving, towards a knowledge-based economies. So Africa has been relying too much, in my mind, on the word investment into Africa instead of local direct investment, how we can invest within ourselves. With the African continental trade, parts coming, I believe that we need to start changing the dialogue. We need to start changing our mindset so that within the continent of Africa, we can create wealth. If you look at the population of Africa, about 1.2 billion citizens, about 60% of them are the youth today. Now, in all over the world, the youth are those that are creating wealth. So I believe, as my preamble, before we get deep into the thing, I believe that we also start thinking about wealth creation for our continent, using the youth, as the game changer to be able to use their knowledge base so that we can create Africa a knowledge-based economy other than natural resources.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Let's cross over to Ms. Bernadette Zella for her opening comments.
Good afternoon. It's indeed a pleasure to be part of this panel today. I'm the head of international trade at the Johannesburg Chamber. And at the Johannesburg Chamber, or as it's known, JCCI, our focus is creating a platform where members can engage on the international platform. So we're also part of the International Chamber of Commerce in Paris. So we have access to about 14,000 chambers globally. So we really place a lot of focus on really giving members an opportunity on that platform to engage, where partnerships, joint ventures can be formed. So we host about 2 to 3 international events a month where we invite the High Commissioner or an ambassador from different countries, different regions, where they will give an overview on the bilateral trade opportunities. And our focus is also, encouraging business to adopt an export strategy, import and export strategy, because by exporting, importing, that's going to boost the economy, that's going to create employment as well. So our focus is really on facilitating international trade, and we have different, in fact, JCCI runs these international trade events, but we're also in partnership with the German government through GIZ. We run different programs. One is to assist SMEs in every aspect of exporting. So from assessment, we'll do the assessment, then we'll devise a mentorship plan where we look at what needs to be done, whether it's their product development, financial development, whether it's intellectual property. We'll put together a mentorship program, and that during its over, some of the projects is over 3 years, but some of them we do it a condensed period. And then we will mentor the SMEs and we'll monitor them during the process to see where they need assistance. And then from there, we also provide them with all export training, looking at the Incoterms, their payment terms, feasibility study. We look at everything relating to exports, and then we'll do a feasibility study. And there we work closely with the Department of Trade and Industry and other international organizations, where we will identify suitable markets, taking into account the free trade agreements. And then we will assist the SMEs to access those markets, one of the platforms and one of the channels being through the chambers as well. And I think one of the very effective tools that we will have access to is the African Continental Free Trade Agreement. It's really going to encourage, is going to boost intra-Africa trade, and where the whole trade cycle can happen within the African continent.
Thank you very much. Can we now have Dr. Melinda Harris-Barrow?
Hello, yes, I'm here. I was muted. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Melida Harris Barrow, Dr. Barrow, and I am from Panama City, Panama, Central America. I was the descendants of those that was taken from Africa during slavery. And what I wanted to mention
Alert from Yahoo.
that
Password required.
one of the things that's important to what we're getting ready to do is it's awesome because we are getting ready now to launch the 6th Region Global Chamber of Commerce. And the 6th Region Global Chamber of Commerce is going to include Africans outside of Africa pursuing opportunity.
System preferences
and
needs your
also,
attention.
Those that was taken from Africa during slavery. So we are combining both. In other words, what we need and what Africa needs is not just those that have left Africa for better opportunity, but for those that is in Central America, in the Caribbean, and also North America. In other words, in the Americas. What this Chamber of Commerce is going to do is essential. We want to bring businesses to Africa. We want to establish an opportunity in Africa in order for not just Africans that left Africa, but all of us outside of Africa. And that is opportunity that Africa needs. One of the things that's very important to us, we have great opportunities in our regions, and I'll give you an example. We have the Panama Canal. We have the Colon Free Zone that Africans are not taking opportunity of. And that is what I want to present to Africa. Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Brazil, all of these countries needs you. And we need also the opportunity to come into Africa and establish businesses. My government and other governments in Latin America, they're dying to come to Africa. The problem is that there's no direction, there's no liaison. So this is what the 6th Region Global Chamber of Commerce is going to do. We are going to establish relationships, we have already done that in Latin America and the Caribbean in order for us to have trade missions to come into Africa. There's another great news that I just received 2 days ago. We're also going to have a leased cargo plane in order to come to Africa and bring in our products. Because one of the problems that we're having in our region is the fact that we have to go across the world before we get to Africa. So now we have leased a cargo plane. So that way now we are able to do business in Africa without interference of how we're gonna get there. So these are the opportunities that Africans are not taking advantage of our regions. We are well prepared. We have all of the opportunities you need. And I'll give you an example. We have the Colon Free Zone. In the history, we have never had African businesses to take advantage of all of the opportunity of the free zone in Panama City. This has to change. Also in Costa Rica, there's great business opportunities in Costa Rica that we have to also take advantage of. So what I want to do on this platform, it is to let you know that Latin America, we have our brothers and sisters there also. Let me just give you quickly the opportunities in Panama City. Panama City is established as though it's America. That is like the #1 hub in Latin America. One of the great incentives even of the 2nd largest free zone in the world is in Panama. So we have the incentives of tax exemptions on imports, re-exports, and manufacturing of goods. We have tax exempt on a re-export incomes, tax exempt on invoicing. There's a lot of opportunities that our African brothers and sisters can have in Panama City, Panama. So I would like to thank Cynthia for inviting me to this program, but we are waiting for you, Africa, in our region. And we hope that we can continue this dialogue and continue to do business with each other. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Doctor. That is reassuring that Panama, the Americans are also ready for business. We're going to proceed with a bit of questioning because the panel discussion. Because a panel discussion, we're going to continue with a bit of questioning. Let me tell our audience, this is the most important part of the discussion. Our difficulty has been, is Africa ready for business? And I do believe that our panel are going to help answer that question. We're also going to be educated about what businesses are looking for in Africa. For those who are actually viewing us via Star Radio networks, and for those participants who have logged in, this is a very opportune time for you to take notes, because if you are a business, a young brain, you are a young talent, you're a business owner in Africa, you're looking at how do I tap into the opportunities that are bound in outside of Scandinavia, thanks to ACCS, Panama and all those areas. This is the most important time. Your questions, you can actually send us your questions. If you're watching us via the social media, drop your questions over there. If you're a participant, please use the chat menu to send a question to the host. Let me take the first question, and this goes to the ambassador first. I'll take this to the ambassador first. We take this to the ambassador first. Now, we know a lot of investors have complained about corruption, legislation, the difficulty in trying to get licenses. Now, talking about Africa being ready, Ambassador, how is Africa preparing itself, or what have we done so far to reassure investors that when they come into Africa, the barriers that used to scare them away are now being broken? Ambassador, please.
Thank you. Now, I mentioned in my remarks that the law, the aspect of the rule of law, and the sensitivity to who our partners are. I said, when we engage with our partners, we need to know their beliefs, their practices, and law as terms of engagement. As you mentioned yourself, the question is, what have our countries done to make penetration to our local markets, either for selling goods or investment? I think the aspect of clear, easy, user-friendly laws are what are needed. But this is partly why I thought my brother, His Excellency Ambassador Julius, had very clearly given a concrete example of the Ugandan conditions. They're very clear. He gave a text, and I hope His Excellency is hearing me, inviting him to take and contribute to this particular comment, because mine was global and he was very specific. Uganda has given very clear terms of engagement with any investor or exporter.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Moka. Let's cross over to Dr. Prince Kofi Kujesen. Doctor, you have been a businessman for years. In fact, you were one of those who pioneered telecommunication industry in Ghana when you established Celtel. We know you've had a long working relationship with investors. What are some of the challenges pointed out to you, and how have you helped to overcome those barriers?
Listening to the ambassador, you realize that the biggest problem in Africa is about our laws or non-friendly laws when it comes to investment. When I was president of AGI, or Association of Ghana Industries in Ghana, I tried to, bridge my government to be able to cure some of these problems for Ghana when it comes to equity. Most of the investors who are coming to Africa, their first place of call, if you look at Danida, Scandinavia, all the countries, their first place of call is equity. But African countries, unlike South Africa, does not have those equity laws, or friendly laws, as the ambassador has said, which will allow them to quickly come in and collaborate or partner. Now, the buzzword that is being used by all the government is investment, investment, investment. As to what investment are never qualified as to what kind of investment that are needed, and also in whatever areas. Now, if you look at what happened in South Africa, a few years ago, about trying to create the black empowerment, laws, which allows, the South Africans, to be able to have 30% equity, or for that matter, in the investment in the country, which followed the Malaysia strategy of 35%. I think Uganda has something also like that. But if you look at Ghana, for instance, our laws says that our shares have no power value. So everybody that is holding those regulations in Africa, claiming to own companies, they are just handling nothing but a lot of debts, a lot of debts. Now, if you look at where we started, we are doing, we just began again a very major project that's supposed to connect the whole of Africa, which is called the new smart city project, which is going to link all the African countries under the new African Continental Trade Pact. If you look at the revenue model, which is basically what is the going thing today, I believe that should be one of the pace setters, of what we need to do to be able to attract people to come in and start making return on investment very quickly. But because the laws are also not entrenched, one of the issues that I don't talk too much about is the issue of corruption. I'm not really in favor. I'm not the student of accepting that tag on Africa as corrupted, country, because continent. My issue is that, when I spoke at Harvard many years ago, my question to them, who is the corruptee and who is the corruptor? Who provides the corruption? So I believe that, we, the African country, we must be able to make sure that that tag does not hang on our heads, because if you look at the Panama presentation, there are many opportunities that can have a handshake with the African, countries to be able to overcome these difficulties that are tags. There are more of tags on the continent than anything else. Now, if you look at the past, our fathers, our grandfathers, looking at the issue of independence until today, like Ghana, for instance, we're still holding on to cocoa, we're still holding on to gold. Now, if you look at these two, commodities, they don't bring in, more than $2 billion in a year. But the assets that are provided for these things to happen on them are way more than them. So for me, one of the things with the experience that we had going forward, we need to really continue to urge our government to have friendly laws, especially for the youth. And also there must be a provision of equity fund companies or organizations within the government to allow, the government, even if they can hold maybe 30% equity in the businesses, to begin with, it begins rather than, having a lot of debt, debt, which is a major problem we have in Africa today. There are too many opportunities in Africa for Africa to be having the issue, the problem that we are talking about. So my experiences in the past, which basically is the biggest problem of Africa, is that of equity, for the startups or for the next generation. Because, if you look at the road problem and all these issues, I do not think that even government should be wasting too much money on roads. These are all the issues that can be franchised out, to PPP projects, for toll, so that the nation's money can rather be, reserved for the development and transformation, of our people and our knowledge-based economy. Because wherever you go, from South Africa to Algeria to everywhere in Africa, there are massive knowledge-based, African youth, who are very knowledgeable all over the place. They do so well in the diaspora, just like our friends, I mean, if you look at Ghana, when we did the tourism, fair last year, which is the, return, Ghana, I mean, you see a massive, over 1 million of the Ghanaians, Africans in diaspora, came to Ghana, and many opportunities about opening up. So we need to be able to, I think, the short-term solution, I believe, Frank, is to let us hold the African Continental Trade Pact policy as a new entry for Africa to begin that trade immediately. All the barriers, the borders must be closed down. Visa issues for Africans must be looked at. Monetary policy must be looked at, so that we don't need to be able to be traveling. Now, even if you look at Africa, to go to Uganda, I may have to go through London before I come to Uganda. it's not easy for transport within the continent of Africa as well. So I believe that, first of all, the tag of corruption, we need to find a way to deal with it, and get out of it. Number two, it's really to look at the laws which are friendly investment laws, because most of the countries in Africa, we are more focused on the politics or the legislative that would focus on the politics, but not on investment or even local investment within the Africa region. How can I be able to come to Uganda today and within the next 1 week or a month meet H&H to be able to make a deal and start rolling up a network in Africa? How possible is that? How can I go to Namibia or South Africa, whatever, to do that? I believe that those are the issues we need to be looking at today, and maybe to encourage and empower the future generation. I think that's where the issues are right now. So laws, legislation, barriers, dealing with the subject of corruption. We don't need to be talking too much about it. We need to be able to find a way to be able to take out the tag so that the road can open up. Countries like Singapore, kind of Scandinavia, kind of like Singapore is only 1963 that Singapore started all this. China, the last 25 years, they were fighting Tiananmen Square, but within the last 25 years, they moved on. So we need to find a clear strategy as to what our focus might be. If it's trade, let's focus on trade and then make sure that succeeds. And that will bring in the revenues that are needed. Because if you want to go to foreign direct investment here, the first place of call is 70-30, equity and debt, or 60-40. Now, even if it's $1 million in Africa, we don't have the $300,000 to begin the journey. So can we get our countries to start these equity, companies so that they can stand in for the African, at least to begin the journey? And I believe that that will begin the moving forward to be able to create a very wealthy and prosperous African economy.
Thank you very much, Dr. Prince Kofi. To the investors out there, Aido has been established to help partner businesses for prosperity. And the business arm of Aido, we know these challenges exist. Our goal is to work with the businesses across Africa to lower these barriers so that investors that will troop into Africa, the barriers that you identified years ago, will work with you hand in hand to lower them. At this very point, I would like to cross over to Melinda of ACCS. Melinda is involved. ACCS work with companies that are looking to enter Africa. It's better go to her now to tell us from her experience of with working with what they call it businesses. What are some of the challenges that these investors for them, and how does she think we can actively work to actually entice more investors into Africa? Melinda from ACCS, please.
Yes, I do believe Dr. Prince said it very well, and the ambassador also. I think one of the issues that we're having in Latin America and also in the Caribbean is trust, is because, and I'll give you an example. I think the example speak volumes. For example, when I mention Nigeria to my clients, the first thing they say, no, I don't want to go into Nigeria because of the corruption. There's a high corruption in Nigeria. But what happens is that one of the things that we also have to think about is that the media on this side of the world, in this region, portrays Africa as until today, as a place not to do business. And it's not just Nigeria, it's the continent. So we have to change that. And the only one that can change that is Africa. Africa, the African businesses, countries, governments, you all are the only one that can change that, because we want to do business with you. The investors want to do business, especially when it comes to agriculture, transportation, all of these things. But especially my government wants to do business in Nigeria, in Ghana, in Congo, and all these different locations in countries in Africa. But one of the things that we really, really have to work on is the connectivity. This is why I started the 6th Region Global Chamber of Commerce. Why? Because it's important now that we connect with all 54 countries in Africa in order now to renew the mentality of the businesses and investors in our region, especially in Panama. Panama is the central location, it's the hub of Latin America. So once we get Panama involved to do business in Africa, the door will be open because we have the Panama Canal. We have the second largest free zone in the world, and we're very developed. We use the American currency, and I can go on and on. But the problem is that the media has corrupted, and I'm not saying that Africa is innocent, but when we hear of the things that are happening in Africa, the red flag goes up. So we have to, I think what we have to do is that we have to rebuild the mindset of government, infrastructure. We need to have a conversation. We need to have a platform. And that platform, the 6th Region Global Chamber of Commerce can create in conjunction with the platform in Africa, in order for us to converse, in order for us to unite. One of the most important things that where we're failing, and I have to say this because this is important, when we talk about the 6th region, we're talking about Africans that have left Africa for better opportunity. But we never really talk about Africans that we're taking from Africa. That's a problem because we are in this region, Latin America, we're in the Caribbean, we're in North America, we are around the world. We have to include us. That is me. We have to include those because I'm African. You know, Europeans might say Afro-Panamanian, Afro this, and I'm African, period. I'm a woman of African descent. So this is what we need to have a round table and discuss about how we can come back together. We're not foreign to Africa, and we need to have that round table, that platform, bring the countries together, people of African descent, investors, business people, institutions, and we need to have that round table and discuss. And that goes also for those that have left Africa for better opportunity. And I do believe that if we do that, and I want to say this, Africa will not rise until you include your brothers and sisters that was taken. It cannot. I don't think we realize the importance of the things that we can do in our region. We have mining, we have the agriculture. Congo just called and said, we need the experts in order to cultivate avocado. Mexico, we can come in and we can teach those that needs to cultivate certain things. We have the experience, we have the knowledge. So that's what's missing in Africa, your brothers and sisters outside of Africa. And I do believe if we think about doing this platform and bringing us all together and discuss the issues that's missing in Africa, because we have the experience as well. We have the experience that you need. And when I talk about the second largest free zone in the world, when I talk about how there's not one African business on that platform, that's a problem, because you can have an office there, import, export, do all the things in that region, but you don't have the information. That's the key. And we are here now to provide that information for you. You might not speak Spanish, but here we are to provide all that information for you. This is what's missing in Africa, the lack of information. Because when you export, where are you exporting to? When you import, who is providing the products to you? Because when I noticed, I just recently recognized this recently, that you export to China, you do business with China, you do business in Europe, you do business in India, but you are not doing business in the Caribbean, hardly. You're not doing business in the Americas, hardly, with people of African descent. That's what's missing. And we are here, the 6th Region Global Chamber of Commerce, in order to provide that type of information for you, and also the business opportunities that we can do together. So in conclusion, I think we need to have a platform in order for us now to do business with each other. And not always, see, you were taught to do business in Europe. You were taught to do business in China, but you were not taught to do business through the Americas. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Interestingly, I bet all the schools in Africa, when we're growing up, were taught about Panama Canal. But it's interesting to know that we do not have Africans doing business with South America and especially Panama. I hope and I know from today that is going to change. That is what this is about.
Can I say something?
International.
Can I say something?
Allow His Excellency to respond to you. His Excellency Julius Moto, I think he wants to defend.
Before the Excellency come in, is it possible we could have Ms. Benedict Zella respond, then the Excellency will come in to put a bit of cream on the cake?
Listening to the ambassador, all of us on this program, if you want to, I want to pick his word about the rural area. Where is the rural area of Africa? There is zero rural area of Africa. There is none. I don't see any rural area of Africa today. Why? Because all of us, one way or the other, come from some place that used to be called the rural area. But as he said, our brains, our knowledge, our education brought us from that environment to whoever we are today. So we need, as government, those of them that are in government, must start appreciating the fact that the buzzword of rural area that are being talked about. I grew up in Chicago many years ago, and it was a way rural, the south side of Chicago was a rural area, was a really, really rural area many years ago. And when you travel to India, to China, most of these areas are rural areas, David, Frank. So we need, the mindset game is being played by those in government. The barriers are being played by them. The issue of the corruption are being surrounded by them. Now, if they start, look, if you look at the United States of America, Frank, there are only 3 major economies in the US. You talk about Silicon Valley, you talk about the Hollywood, the creative arts, and you talk about education, MIT and then Harvard. These are where the most of the economies, grow up, which are the youth. Majority of those in this enclave are the youth, and they make all the wealth in the world to be able to supply the rest of the world. They created the best powerful jobs in the world through education, through creative arts, which is knowledge-based. It has nothing to do with natural resources or issue of corruption, but they are the knowledge that African children have. If you go to everywhere in Africa, I don't care, I've traveled all over Africa because of the project that I'm doing, and you see the wealth. One of the major things that you agree with me, all the African children, one way or the other, they pay for data. They pay for data to use the phone. They pay for data to use the phone. If you listen to the friend from Panama, one of the major problems is that you cannot get a connectivity right in most of these countries, to be able to do that. Now, the mobile money has also moved in so that people are just getting feature for just collecting money. So we need to be able to look at digitalization, as said by our friend from South Africa. The digital economy, I believe, is the next way to go. We need to move to digital economy. If you don't move to digital economy very, very fast. Look at even Rwanda. Many years ago, Rwanda was fighting. But Rwanda has a lot of smart projects going on in Rwanda, and whatever. If you look at Vietnam many years ago, they were doing wars, but today they are exporting $70 billion worth of app from that country. Now, so I believe that we need to move quickly, and stop providing the barriers of why we cannot do it, and ask our children, what do they want to do? What do they want to have? David, all these our children today in Africa, give them a good smartphone, good laptop, good tablets, and free data. They are on their own. They can do so many things to be able to help the government in Africa to grow. Seriously, if you have got Nigeria and Ghana are still closing borders today, as we speak today, David, the border between Ghana and Nigeria are closed today. What is it? I don't even know, even in the COVID. Let the barriers go down, let the visa issue go down so that we can trade within ourselves, learn our African experience, and look at churches that are going on. The churches are becoming more powerful in all the African countries than industry, than education, than whatever. Why? How are they doing it? They manage to organize themselves very, very well, which we call the church economy or the faith economy today. Now, so I believe that the barriers must go down from government. Our friends in government, when we call them on the telephone, they must answer. Sometimes when you call them, they don't answer, even though they are classmates with the ambassador in university. The next day they call them, they don't answer the phone, so that we can help them, so that we can move Ghana forward. I see HRA smiling. That is the problem. That is a barrier in Africa. The ego system about our friends in politics, I want to be a politician, I want to be this, that must go away, so that we can be able to contact them and help the continent to move the next level and engage through digitalization. Look, Ghana has 1.2 million people in free SHS. I had a meeting the other day and I said, look, if you multiply that 1.2 million, David, by 10,000, which is $10,000 per year, you have $12 billion economy already. Laptop, tablet, digitization, and data, finished. We will do a project in Ghana with the Smart City Africa. When we interview all, we're in Congo, we're in Namibia, we're in Senegal, we're in Sierra Leone, Liberia, everywhere. One thing that the children want is nothing but digitalization. So let's focus on what is important, as the ambassador from Uganda said, and then my other colleague from ambassador said, is knowledge. Let's focus on what is most important, for the African children today. Whatever has happened in the past, let's live in the past. Let's focus on our children. Our women are doing fantastic job in the continent of Africa today. They are leading in many, many, many areas today, So let's focus on those empowerment of the women, the children, and of course the men. I don't mind whether we are last, so that we can focus on the digital economy and knowledge-based economy, and then create a new, a paradigm shift from the old to the new. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Prince Kofi Klujesin. Let me take a concluding remark from Dr. Melinda Harris. Doctor, what message will you want to send out to especially the youth of Africa out there in conclusion?
First of all, I just want everyone to know I have a youth ambassador program. And this youth ambassador program, many of our children are from Africa and Latin America and the Caribbean. And the reason why I'm putting these young people together is because I want our youth from Africa to learn about business in the Caribbean and in Latin America. One of the things that I do believe is that we do not respect our youth. We don't give them that opportunity. And I think it's time enough now that we give them that platform. We give them the opportunity that they need in order to enhance and to prepare for the future generation. One of the other things too is that the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, in our region, most of us don't know about that information. We don't get the information that Africa is providing. And you don't get the information that we are providing and that we have in our region. And there is a reason for that. We have to change that. We cannot continue to allow other entities in order to dictate our future, in order to provide the communication between each other. We have to create those opportunities for us, the communication, the media, all these things. Because if most of the time, what I do, all the information that I'm receiving today, I will provide it to my brothers and sisters in Colombia, in Nicaragua, in Costa Rica, all these areas. The problem is the lack of communication between us. We have to change that. When we talk about trade, when we talk about all these things, the things that you are exporting, it's not coming to our countries. The things that you are importing is not coming to our countries. We have to change that. I think what it is that we really need to change our mentality, as Dr. Julius mentioned, is the mentality. We have to renew the mind. We have to broaden our mind. What I have recognized is that Europeans come to our countries and invest and then export to you. We have to change that. Why is it that we cannot export and import with each other? That has to change. So this platform, I pray and hope that it doesn't end here. We need to continue this conversation. We need to be able to create another platform with our region, with your region, and communicate with each other and let you know what we have. What are the products that we have in our countries that we are not able to export to your country, and vice versa. That is what we have to do. I urge immediate, this is like now, that we need to have another platform. So now that we can talk about what we are going to do and not just talk about what we are doing now, but what is it now after this event? What is it now we're going to do? How we're going to do it? That is the message for me today. And I hope that the message in return is that we're going to have another platform, but another platform in action, because I'm a woman of action. I want us to do business with each other. And if we have this type of platform and then we go away and we don't talk to each other anymore, then this was not a platform to better Africa. So we need to have another platform in order to do the great things that Africa deserves. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ambassador and Madam. What I can guarantee is that Africa is ready for business, and that's the theme for this program. And the usual talk shops, that is not what is going to happen. Hopefully by next year, when we meet again to do this program, there will be credible evidence to show that this organization has delivered and has actually put together credible businesses and investors together for prosperity in Africa. Before we run this session off, let me go to Ambassador. Yes, Ambassador, to give us his closing remarks in 1 minute. Ambassador, you're still here with us. Please give us your closing remarks in 1 minute.
Thank you very much indeed. I just want to say something. First of all, I think the last of my slides, the very last one, summarizes my message. That last slide summarizes everything my co-panelists have said. But I'd like to say something to Dr. Melida Harris. Thank you very much for being a militant lover of the origin of your parents. I lived in the Caribbean for 5 years in Haiti. I visited Panama, and what you've said proves that Africa sometimes doesn't realize it has children out there that are in the cold and dying to link up with us. I think my concluding remark is that we repeat this session somehow, and let's look at the documents and whatever material we've shared. This was only an appetizer to the real discussion we should be having to build Africa on the hands of Africa. Dr. Prince Kofi, sir, you said something about the need to have Africans on the ground with the resources we have, do business, and then talk about collaboration with the rest of the world as a second thing. I totally agree with you, sir. But we need an environment that is enabling, a legal, cultural, and His Highness Peter Paul Eganda talked about Aido being culture-based. Traditionally, Africans don't cheat each other, and they don't sign for anything. They just promise, and the promise is as good as cash. I think if we can push in our countries, when we talk about the paradigm change, it has to be cultural. Let's go back to the African who never cheated, who never killed, who never lied. Business has not worked very well back home because we tend also to cheat when a friend, when your brother entrusts you for something, you don't behave. If we can be solid on the ground, then we can cooperate. But the Caribbean Africans are extending a hand of brotherhood. We want to take that seriously. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished panelists. Thank you very much for participating in this opening session. But before we finish, I just want to add the concluding remarks that yes, Africa is ready for business. The usual talk shops, I think that is a thing of the past. Dr. Prince was actually categorical about that we should forget about what has happened in the past and look at how we actually move forward. We know Africa is right for business. We have the right human resource. We have the skills. It's a growing population that every business will need. And I do believe this discussion that we've had today is not going to be the last. Africa is a continent of opportunities. It's a continent of the future. And it's a continent that is growing. What is required is partnership, investment, an investment that comes in, marry their culture with our culture, with the right frame of mindset to develop, to invest for prosperity. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Frank Davis, for the wonderful remarks. Yes, indeed, Africa is ready. So let us forget our past and move forward. Let us partner with like-minded people and infuse their culture in our culture to be able to develop, invest in prosperity in Africa. Thank you.
Makina amina nara achamana